And joining me now is Arsalan Iftikhar. He's an international human rights lawyer and the global managing editor of the Crescent Post internet news site. Thank you very much for being with us, Arsalan.
Thank you, Lati.
So do you think that the families of the Lockerbie victims should be getting their hopes up about any possible extradition of Megrahi? What are the sort of the legal ins and outs of this case?
Well, I think that if you look at it, there's virtually a 0% chance that Megrahi would ever be extradited here to the United States. Currently, the United States has extradition treaties with 108 countries around the world. Libya is not one of those countries. And so in order for Megrahi to be successfully extradited here to the US, first Libya would need to have a government. So the NTC would need to form a government. That government would need to sign an extradition treaty to the United States. What's more likely to happen is an extradition back to Scotland, or at a distant second place would be the International Criminal Court at The Hague.
Or he could be sent to prison in Libya.
He could be. Again, if the NTC decides to capture him and try him in Libya again, that is up to them. Again, they will have to rewrite a constitution in addition to forming a Congress, a government, and so we'll have to wait and see what will be the next
So
steps.
the legalities that you talked about, couldn't they just simply be sort of pushed to one side in any post-Gaddafi Libya?
No, because if you look at it, the United States currently does have a criminal indictment on Abdelbasit el-Megrahi, but again, since he is a foreign national, the U.S. will have to have an extradition treaty which they can execute in order to successfully bring him stateside. We have to understand that the bombing of Pan Am Airways Flight 103 over Lockerbie on December 21st, 1988 was an act of international terrorism. It occurred over international waters with many countries and nationals. It was considered something that would trigger universal jurisdiction, which is why the International Criminal Court at The Hague might be another venue where Megrahi could be potentially prosecuted.
So how do you explain then why some US politicians, and some of them are very high-level US politicians, are talking about the possible extradition of Megrahi? Is this wishful thinking on their part? Are they playing politics? What's going on?
It's two words, Diljit: domestic politics. You know, you heard Republican presidential candidate Mitt Romney call for the extradition of Megrahi here, even though the NTC has not captured and immobilized Gaddafi. They have not formed a government yet. You know, there are about 12 different steps that need to occur in Libya right now before the case of Abdelbasit el-Megrahi ever could be brought to the light of day. Again, it's a ploy being used by the Republican presidential candidates to try to strike at President Barack Obama.
But the sad side of this is that it might be giving sort of false hope to the families of the victims who died over Lockerbie.
Well, I think that, I think Scotland's exoneration and pardon of him about 2 years ago was a bitter pill that the families had to swallow, and I think that they're not going to have false hope. I think they're going to wait and see what happens on the ground in Libya in terms of the formation of any sort of government, and then move from there to see whether he is extradited to Scotland, to the ICC, or at a very distant third place, the United States.
And it'll be interesting also to see what kind of leverage the United States has with the Transitional National Council as well. Okay, Arsalan Iftikhar, thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure.